Okay, I'm back in town. Time for more videos. Today I'm going to acknowledge the fact we've had a lot of new subscribers to the YouTube channel. So I thought it was probably a good idea to kind of introduce dry fasting to people fresh to this that haven't heard about this or want to know more about it. So if you've come to the place to find out about dry fasting, I wrote the book on the subject. It's called The Phoenix Protocol. It tells you all about dry fasting, why it works, how it works, and how to do it safely. Because it is a serious medical therapy used in Russia for 50 years to treat intractable illnesses. And it remarkably fixes all this stuff that medical science can't seem to fix. But that's not specifically why we use it here on this YouTube channel. However, in dry fasting, via the Phoenix Protocol model, you end up preparing yourself before a fast, conducting a fast, and then the refeeding and recovery after a fast, which according to all the Russian doctors is far more important than going into it. So with that respect, to do it safely, get the book, have a look at the book. It's going to go into all the things that happen during a dry fast. So dry fasting is basically just not drinking any water at all while you fast, hence dry fasting. There's two types. There's a hard dry fast where, yeah, you can't put anything in your mouth at all. No liquids, no water, no nothing. And there's a soft dry fast where you can take a shower and spit stuff out of your mouth and stuff if you like. Because as long as it doesn't go down the GI tract, it doesn't interrupt the other metabolic processes that have been kicked on during a dry fast. Normally doing a medical intervention, it's probably a good idea to do a hard dry fast under medical supervision, but that's if you have a major illness, you know. So consult your doctor, please. But the idea here is that you can actually perform a 7-day dry fast fairly safely at home by yourself using the book, because it goes through all the stuff on why it works, how it works, to understand what you're doing, not just what to do. When you understand what you're doing, it's a lot easier to perform a dry fast, because you do have to reach specific, what are called acidotic crises. Not acidotic, but you go into ketosis is what it means. And when you go into ketosis, a whole bunch of new metabolic processes start up that don't happen during sleep. It's not long enough to fix big problems, but when you let that happen over days on end, boy, things get fixed. And other things happen too. 2 days are spent just getting rid of the glycogen in the liver and the muscle tissue, because you live on glycogen mostly. When that goes away, your body starts seeking a new source of energy, and that's going to be fat cells, where glycerol and free fatty acids are cleaved from triglycerides in the fat cells and move through the bloodstream to the liver and the mitochondria and all the cells, all 37 trillion of them. You still need energy, and the free fatty acids will power the mitochondria to make ATP, which you need for all sorts of metabolic functions, and a lot of water to produce that. So you get a positive pressure of water and endogenous water created inside the cells that flushes the lymphatic system out. You can't do that with any other therapy than dry fasting. That allows things to get out of the cells, get into the lymphatic system, get into the bowel, and boy, at the end of the dry fast, you'll see something come out of you never thought was in there. The other thing is that it kills all the parasites, because parasites require water to stay alive. They can't produce their own. They don't produce endogenous water. So when you thirst them out, when you parch them out, they end up dying. So you get rid of your parasites. You get rid of your bacteria, because autophagy aren't long enough to start really getting these things dealt with and turning on the immune system to turn on the killer cells to really deal with the problems, because it's on for several days. So when you think about that, that's enough alone just to remove the toxins and get rid of the parasites and all that stuff. But the other thing that happens on day 3 is that a type of Muse cell is released from the fat cells. The Muse stem cell is released from the fat cell. Now this is really interesting, because these cells are pluripotent, which means they can be all 3 germ lines. So they go into the system and immediately differentiate into a needed cell. So if you've gotten rid of a bunch of senescent cells, there's a bunch of holes that you don't want to use your other cells to divide and use your telorecept to fill in, let the stem cells fill it in. The other thing that's cool is that it also wakes up the stem cells, because when digestion ends, healing starts. So when digestion ends, protease kinase A is no longer needed, so it turns off. That signals the stem cells to turn on. They start going into the replication cycles of duplication, transit amplifying, progenitor, all that stuff, all the way to differentiated cells in the various organs of the body alone. So that alone, even if the others didn't happen, dry fasting is a great tool to activate your stem cells. And that's what we do with the Phoenix Protocol. We do it yearly to activate more of these stem cells, to produce more young cells inside our body. Kind of a philosophy of the idea. So at the end of the dry fast, you'll have a brand new immune system, because when you generate stem cells, you need a brand new immune system to guide them, just like in embryogenesis. It was your mother's immune system that guided all the stem cells of the egg and the embryo as it formed. And same thing in your body. They need absolutely clean, fresh immune cells to guide the stem cells to where they need to go in the niches. Sometimes they don't even differentiate. Sometimes they're just used to procreate, to sit in the area and make all these paracrine signals and make all the other cells around them act better. Kind of the opposite of senescent cells. So the idea here is dry fasting is pretty easy. You just stop eating and drinking for 7 days. You'll go through some changes. You go through some sleep deprivation. You'll go through some really interesting mental clarity at the end of it. A lot of people talk about that, and I'll talk about that in the user testimony video tomorrow. So you get mental clarity, you get physical clarity. It's a cleanup from the inside out, and then you just have to worry about refeeding. So you don't want to do it too tough because they're too fast, because you've just created a whole bunch of new cells all through the GI tract, like baby cells. So you take it very easy with the broths and the fruit juices and stuff like that. It's all in the book. And then later introduce it to solid foods and get your digestive system up and running again. So it'll take about a week to recover. And it's a week to do it, a week to recover. But during the recovery week, you're pretty much functional. Just don't go out of your way to exercise too much. It's probably too much to do. You'll want to do it, but you'll find out you can't. So yeah, it's kind of a neat process. It's one of these things in the toolbox that fixes a lot of problems. You know, the Phoenix Protocol dry fasting technique is very effective, and as you'll see tomorrow, a lot of people like it and do it all the time. The other thing is, it doesn't do everything. That's why I wrote Neogenesis, because you still have to work out and build your muscle and bone all the time to prevent osteoporosis and sarcopenia. But that's easy to do too, if you know how to do it very quick and very efficiently. So for the new people that have joined up, that's kind of the Phoenix Protocol version of dry fasting. It's the Russian version of dry fasting, where you just don't drink any water. No water goes down the gullet during the period of the fast, and you get these great benefits at the end of it all. Again, you'll be able to contact me privately through the book, and you can also leave comments on the videos, which I answer as much as I possibly can now that I'm back in town. And I hope to see you tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the idea of dry fasting in your life, because it's really a powerful tool to keep you from getting sick. Have a great day.